back at Hot Rod Central. Okay, we've got a quick tour. In the shop at the moment is this custom F100. It's currently getting new wiring. I just patinaed the paint job a bit more to make it a little bit older than it really is. It's got a custom front on it, Studebaker grille, right hand drive. We're just putting the finishing touches on it, so she'll be the shop truck and a driver. And if you want a really cool truck as a shop truck, look at this. This is an American import. We're selling it. It's got just about every option made for an F truck. It's a Lariat. Look at that for the interior of a work truck. Roof console, custom upholstery. This is all factory. Great tidy truck. All the chrome molds on this thing are perfect. Chrome bumper. It's a really nice original truck. Now for something completely different, we've got this old Combi shell Paul found somewhere. This side here, a tree had fallen on it, and this gutter was almost touching the other gutter. It had folded right over. This here was pushed in about 2 feet. The front doors had been pulled around onto the front and tech screwed to the front of the car for God knows what reason. So I fabricated new rear quarters, and just to confuse Combi lovers, I put 2 extra louvers in. I straightened all the body up and made new gutters, and then made a whole new roof out of heavier steel. So we bought a M2 Toyota sports car. We cut the body right off it, then got the Combi body and lowered it over the top, 4 inches lower than stock. So although it's lowered, it's still got full suspension travel. In the back here, you can see the Toyota engine, Toyota suspension. We used all the wiring. Just about everything off the Toyota we've used. In here is the radiator. Out the back is a panel we made to more louvers for cooling. Paul said this thing is really great to drive. It's fast and it handles really well. Okay, this is where we're at with the Hudson Terraplane at the moment. We've taken the body off. The big news is the Barra motor's gone. We're putting a V8 Ford Windsor in there. C4 transmission. So that meant the firewall went. I put a lot of love into that firewall. The gearbox tunnel went. We've made a new gearbox tunnel. And this engine fits a lot better. We're just mocking up the exhaust pipes at the moment. We're going to do all the exhaust and tail shaft, and then we're going to pull it apart, sandblast and paint the chassis. It's got an independent front end. Body wise, we've taken the whole body off, fenders off. The fenders are getting, I wasn't happy with the sandblasting on them, so they were going to re-blast them for me. We've done some body work here on the back, on the sides. I've added a beauty line in here. what I did, I used a piece of steel, that shape, clamped it in from behind and hammer formed it in, and I use the same piece on the other side to get the exact same shape on both sides. That makes the same pattern on both sides. We've got the new firewall. I just had to do some welding and repair work around that area. Same on this side. So this car's all ready now to go back on the chassis, so we can finalise the door gaps and get them closing nice and get the gaps perfect. Then it's off to paint, I guess. Okay, so what I did, I used we're making the fender skirts for the Terraplane. I took this pattern off the car, the shape I wanted them, laid it on the car, made sure everyone was happy. Then I took a piece of scrap steel, probably about 1.8 thick, pretty heavy. Then I laid the pattern down onto that, cut it out. And then I put it onto a new piece of steel, and I needed approximately a 10mm lip to fold over this. I'm going to use this as a buck, so I'm going to do this. So this is a good trick. So I found a nut. And you just put it on. And trace it around. That gives you the shape. This outside line will be what I cut, and this will be a fold line. So this is going to be the buck. It'll make left and right hand side. So I'm going to cut these to shape, and then I'm going to fold the metal over, and that'll give me about a 2mm gap in the fold. So we'll just go fold that over. So I clamp this over the top here. I've just worked my way around with a hammer and dolly onto this, and that's given us a reasonably even fold all the way around. So we ended up with about a 2mm gap under the edge here. So if you look closely, you can see a piece of 2mm wire there. I fed it inside the whole length of the skirt, and then I just used a piece of steel to push it in, and then I continued just tapping it down to hold the wire in there. So now there's a 2mm piece of wire all the way around. Adds a lot of strength to the shape. And then I went to the pull max, and I've put it through the pull max a couple of times, and that's given it a nice shape. So next is when the fenders come back from the sandblaster, I'm going to make mounts. I'm going to fold 2 metal tabs, or maybe 3 metal tabs up that hook inside the wheel arch, and then 2 fasteners here, hidden fasteners underneath in the fender. So when you want to take it off, it'll just be 2 fasteners on the bottom, and it'll just slide down. So here's where I've used the nut again. I made a template up for the sides of the bonnet. I wanted to put these shapes in the bonnet. So using that template, I put a nut, and I use the plasma cutter. I put the plasma cutter in the hole and ran it around this. Ran it around this side. Ran it all the way around this template, except for here, which held the center in. Then I took it off, and I just trimmed those 2 cuts with the 1mm, and I've ended up with this shape here. This is similar to the pattern on the drawing. And then I've taken the hood side, I've cut the hole in the hood side. This is where I filled up the louvers previously. Then on the back side, I've drilled a bunch of holes about 1 inch apart, clamped the new piece to it, and welded them on from behind. So when that's going to go back to sandblasting again, it'll be sandblasted and metal finished, and we'll end up with a really nice stylized porthole in the side of the hood showing the engine off. Here's a tail light I made. I made this the same way. We made a pattern, I cut it out with a plasma, and then I made a backing for it all to hold these particular lights. And I'm probably going to use this style of teardrop with the spike with the tips a few other places on the car before we're finished, but I'm really liking that look. Here's a beaver panel I made for it. It's all ready to go for paint. The boot's just about ready. I'm really happy with the way it's come out of the back. It looks nice flowing lines, nice tapers. All this worked out really well. Very happy. So we've got a couple of small dents here. This is called a bullseye pick. I've sort of modified, I've made my own version. This circle here, a lot of them just have a flat plate, but the circle here I find works really well. So you just find your dent, you put on the bullseye, and you can pinpoint that dent exactly and tap it out. Find your dent. Beautiful. Very handy. I'll be using this a lot when I'm doing the fenders, just to get all the little hailstone size dents out. It's really good. These are the 37 Chev headlights. We've copied the shape of the fender here, so when they sit down on the car they're nice and flush, and they're just held on by these two bolts. I'm going to incorporate turn signals underneath here that'll be hidden, so I've still got to get that, still do those yet, but they can probably go off and get blasted too. Everything's getting closer and closer to paint, and I think this is going to be a wild car when it's finished. So if you're looking for a barra motor, we've got one sitting right here. I think it was a wise choice going to a V8. I was never happy with a 6-cylinder, and like these things with turbos on them create unreal horsepower. I think that's a little bit too much for the little coupe. It'll be nice to have the little V8 in there, nice note, nice looking. We can dress it up and it'll look real good. We've got a couple of projects around the shop. This here's a Galaxy pillarless, 4-door, hardly any rust, ton of spares. I'm pretty sure everything's here. Like a great project car, a real nice custom pillarless. Nice 4-door forward, plenty of spares inside. It's been sandblasted. Another good body. These ones aren't so good, but they'd be great projects. A couple of pickup cabs. These ones aren't in as good nick, although that one is. A couple of pickup cabs, make nice rat rods. Spare Galaxy doors. To all my American friends, the boot we talk about is actually a trunk to you, and this is not the boot we are talking about we made. See you next week. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Thanks everybody.